ex-CIA officer's alien UFO encounter. He claims there's a whole other reality that surrounds us. The link between CIA and UFO mystery is dated back to 1947. Since then, many CIA officials and the ex-US military personnel propelled ufology by giving shocking statements. Former CIA and military US officials such as James Woolsey, Daryl Sims, Lou Elizondo, David Fravor, etc., describe how the existence of reality all around us that we are unable to perceive could be a major aspect of the UFO phenomenon. Recently, two veteran CIA officials, Jim Semivan and John Ramirez, who have expressed personal interest in UFO UAP issues and cases, joined the George Knapp Show to discuss CIA's role in the study of UFOs and their own experiences. Jim Semivan spent 25 years with the CIA and then joined other former government insiders as part of the Tom DeLonge's To the Stars Academy. He detailed how he was induced into the CIA and learned spycraft, which takes years to master. The CIA works on a need-to-know principle, he said, so when it came to UFOs, Semivan was not made specifically aware of research on this topic, though CIA analyst Kit Green was known for pursuing the paranormal. On Coast to Coast AM, Semivan described his own alien-type encounters that occurred to him and his wife starting in 1990, in which showed up in their bedroom, he says. The incident was authentic, not a hypnagogic dream. It wasn't a vision, in other words, a dreaming state. The couple subsequently observed on and off poltergeist activity in their home, and more recently he said he saw a hooded figure that represented the Death Eater character from Harry Potter, who perhaps materialized to herald the death of a close friend. To me, it sounds like demonic entities, especially if you're talking about poltergeist activity. But anyway, going on with this, what he claims here, Semivan said he concurs with a remark made by Skinwalker Ranch researcher Colm Kelleher that the UFO phenomenon is a lot more than nuts and bolts and machines, as there are also psychic and biological elements that ratchet up the high strangeness. To the Stars investigation of metamaterials with odd isotopic ratios, possibly associated with UFOs, was ongoing, he said. In the first half of the interview, Semivan said, I think they mentioned that the phenomenon is a natural part of our universe and we are living in it, but we don't recognize it, the same way that insects and animals don't recognize the human universe. A cat and a dog could be running through a library, but they don't have the faintest idea what the books are all about and what libraries are all about. We might be walking through our existence and there's a whole other reality that surrounds us that we just simply don't have the ability to see or interact with. It seems to be peeking inside our little consensus reality. And as I explained to somebody once, it comes close, it teases us, it cajoles us, it lies to us, but you could never take it home to meet the parents. It won't allow you to do that. There's no formal introduction. Add on top of that, there's no ontology, which is just a fancy word. It basically means there's no structure to even discuss this. We don't have a common lexicon. Somebody said we have dots but no connections. I don't even think we have the dots, he said. John Ramirez, a 25-year-old CIA veteran who specialized in ballistic missile defense systems, was featured in the latter half of the interview. He recalled his long-standing interest in spycraft and how he shifted from being a Navy officer to the CIA in 1984. He compared intel gathering to being a journalist for a news service, though his sources for reports were typically clandestine. Like Semivan, he also experienced what might be considered alien abduction type experiences, including being placed on an examination table in a circular craft. Interestingly, a number of his counterparts in the CIA and NSA also had UFO experiences, he revealed. In his job related to missile defense, he became aware of times when Russian radar would detect unusual craft, and in one instance, he said they tried to lure a UAP or UFO into landing. Ramirez noted that CIA historian Gerald Haynes wrote about the agency's study of UFOs from 1947 through the 1990s for a division that was initially called the Office of Scientific Intelligence. What was particularly intriguing to Ramirez was that the division had life sciences and medical people on staff, indicating possible interest in alien bodies. He also described how Air Force pilot on the plane that flew near Kamchatka Peninsula of Russia to monitor Russian tests observed a massive milky white wall of light flying towards him at 6,200 miles per hour through the Air Force, even though the Air Force assumed that it was some kind of countermeasure by the Russians. And regarding the military sightings of transmediums, that is going from air to sea, UAPs like Tic Tacs, Ramirez said he does not believe that Russia or any other foreign country has the capabilities to produce this kind of anti-gravity technology. Liu made these points in several interviews, but in this one he was asked to elaborate on his comments about how our senses are reductive and limit our reality and how this might be relevant to the phenomenon. And he replied, "This is something we've been dealing with for a long time. Imagine the first person to get on a boat and sail over the horizon. There's stories of sea monsters and krakens that will devour you and destroy your boat, and yet we did it anyways. We did sail and we explored the world. So it turns out 500 years later, there really are sea monsters. We call them the great squid of the Pacific, the great white sharks, and the whales. Now they're just part of nature and have a scientific name, but those sea monsters still exist. They're there, we just learned to understand them. Maybe this is the same thing. Maybe this is just another expedition over the horizon where we're going to realize what we thought were monsters were really just neighbors." Interestingly, Gary Nolan, Louis Elizondo, Tom DeLonge, and Jacques Vallée say very similar things when it comes to the reality of the phenomenon. And this is on House and Wise by Vicky Verma. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.